So we will be discussing about structure and process of personality today. Please again. We will be discussing about structure and process of personality today. To be very frank, second and third units are like just introduction to personality. First block is completely, it's just introducing what is personality, how it is forming, and what are the steps involved, how these are things discussed, and mainly in unit 2, unit 1, as we have discussed in the previous class. Unit 2 structure and process of personality is also just introducing what, why are we going to study this, why are we going to study, what is the use of studying about the structure, what is the use of studying about process personality, how it is going to affect, what will happen if we study. These are the things. So if we see about the definition of personality, we have various personality, and why, what is structure of personality, why are we studying, and what exactly the psychologists think about it. If we see, this is study of a stable psychological structure and processes, stable psychological structures and processes that organize human experience and shape a person's action and reaction to his environment. A stable psychological structure, how it is forming, how it is organizing human experience. See, everything we do is somewhere related to our past experience. Based on our past experience only, we do anything. Something which is coming out of suddenly, when a situation is arising, you are reacting in one particular way. That is depending on how you have seen that situation, how how you have seen a situation where other people have acted. Based on that, our experience is organized, and it also shapes whether our actions and reactions to environment. Somewhere, sometimes what happens, there is one, I have seen a WhatsApp video. To be very frank, I'll be very frank here. Before, previously, I was afraid of dogs. Whenever dog barks, I used to be very afraid and run away from there. But I have recently seen a WhatsApp video wherein two little children, they were going, and the dog will start barking. The girl will run away, but the boy stood there and he was frightening the dogs, and dogs went away. I thought, okay, this is one good thing. The next time when dogs start barking, and when it started coming towards me, I just stood still and I just gave a step towards the dog. Then dog ran away. So our structure and process, organize human experience, it's all depend how we react, what is our action, what is our reaction. These all depends on our human experience. So you should remember this definition: study of the stable psychological structure and processes that organize human experience and shape a person's action and reaction to his environment. So if you see here how to remember this, it is study. What is study? Study of stable psychological structure and processes. Structure and process we should remember, because this is unit dedicated to structure and process. So it is study of stable psychological structure and process which organizes human experience. Study organizes human experience. Then another word, shape. It shapes our action and reaction, how we react to a particular situation. So these things, SOS, remember it as SOS, study, organize, shape. What is study? Study of stable psychological structure and processes, and organize human experience and shape our action and reaction to that particular situation. Okay. So this is how simple way to remember the definition. It, as I said in the previous example, whenever we have some experience, based on that experience only our reaction or action to the situation will come. Then here in the study of our structure and process, we emphasize on variations among individuals in psychological functions. What are those psychological functions? Emotions, how emotions are changing the person's behavior. Sometimes what happens, we have seen in many movies, they do some emotional blackmail. They show money to the person, he will not do the job, or he rejects doing that. But whenever some emotional drama is played, kidnapping his daughter or kidnapping his wife, something happens, then the emotion starts and the reaction changes. So emotion changes our personality. Motivation, how we are thinking to do, how are we planning to do anything, and what is the motivation level, what is motivating you to do. Sometimes good motivation, good motive facts will be there, sometimes bad. So these are motivations, what are affecting our behavior. Perception, how we are seeing things. Something dark goes, or if some rope is just moving, we may believe that it's a snake. It's all about our perception. In dark, when we step on a rope, we may think that it's snake, because we are perceiving. We might be thinking about snake, so instantaneously we think that rope as a snake. So our perception, how we are perceiving things, this also depends. And learning, our learning experiences. What are we learning? What are we going through? What is the material we are exposed to every time? If we are exposed to only negative things, our mind will be negative. When we are thinking about positive things and positive everything, so we get to know about positive things, positive thoughts. So learning experience is also a key factor in structure and process of our personality. Also memory, as I said, the previous experience, memory also plays a major role. When some issue arises, when there is some problem, when we remember how we reacted to that problem previously, how we reacted to that problem previously, it also depends. And if we may react in one particular way, but after some times we may forget that incident, and whenever the same incident comes, we may react differently, because we did not remember the previous reaction what we did. So memory also plays a major role in our structure and process of personality. Language is also one more important thing. Thoughts, traits, and disposition, all these depends on, all these factors affect our structure and process of personality. So again, we have nine factors affecting the individual psychological functions. So what are these nine functions, nine factors, and how to remember them easily? So I have used the acronym here, mnemonic, wherein I said TTD. TTD is Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, and it's recording, right? TTD is Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. EMP is for employee. Employee code, we say EMP code, employee code. He uses LML vehicle. If you remember previously, there used to be one LML vehicle, like just like Chetak. So TTD employee uses LML vehicle. By this, we get to know all the different individual traits and behavior aspects, which we can also use these nine factors in other questions also. Here T stands for thoughts, traits, dispositions, TTD. EMP is emotions, motivation, and perception. He uses LML. What is LML? Learning, memory, and language. So this is simple way to remember the different individual properties which may change, which affects the structure and process of personality of any individual. Okay, I hope it's clear, and I'll move forward. And also, why personality gives, it also gives attention to stable attributes inside a person. See, whenever we have to study something, we need to have something stable. Only then we can study. When it is complete, we take some reference. We take some reference point, base point. From them, from there we compare the other things, and then we can guess what may happen, what is happening. So personality psychology gives much of its attention to stable attributes. It doesn't depend on whichever is changing very rapidly. It depends on whatever is stable attributes inside a person, such as traits or dispositions which guide his action and reaction. As I said previously, how his action or reaction is depending on the uh, stable attributes. How these stable attributes are determining his action or reaction, and how it is in turn deciding his personality. We react to stimuli in an environment, whether physical or social. There are two different types of stimuli, physical or social. Wherein physical means if someone touches you, if someone hits you, if someone shakes you suddenly, these are all physical stimuli. But social stimuli, what is social stimuli? Whenever we listen some news, some bad news, like something is happening somewhere. We normally see in WhatsApp some incident happens in, and something like accident we see. We are not in that particular situation, but still whenever we see that particular incident, we feel very pity, or we may feel afraid. We, different types of emotions and different types of feelings will arise. These are social, they are not directly in contact with you. It is, we are getting that social influence from outside. So the reaction, how our reaction will be to stimuli which is physical or social is also uh, is also a key factor in determining our personality. Okay, then stable attributes, action and reaction, which we discussed just now. Stimuli, physical or social. I guess you are clear with physical and social stimuli, right? Physically is where someone is touching you and it's happening near you. But social sound is also something physical. But social is somewhere if something happens to our people, if something is happening to them, and by those things our personality will depend. So this is about that. Then the structure and process of personality. Why are we see for any, if we consider a building, there will be one structure. Outer structure will be there, external structure will be there, and to achieve that structure, there will be a process. Now this building, or we consider this book. This book is finally a structure, but in this construction of this book, there is a process wherein text is prepared, it is printed on paper, it is then binded together, then a cover is pasted on it. This all thing comes under process. So how personality is developing, how structure and the process of personality is forming, this is what we are about to discuss in this complete book. Not only in this unit or not only in this block, we are discussing completely how a personality is formed in this complete subject. So how people can be consistent in their behavior, how some people will be consistent in their behavior, and also this change in time, how what happens, someone will be very angry person, his behavior is constant whenever he is angry always, his consistent behavior is angry. But sometimes there will be variation in that behavior also. Why is that behavior happening, what exactly is the process, what exactly is the uh, key point which is changing is constant behavior or consistent behavior, and why abnormal behavior is there, why abnormal behavior is occurring, and also to know what, how, and why anything influence personality, how anything is influencing personality, how is that thing influencing the personality, why is it influencing, all these things we will get to know from that. Also, it also refers structures refer to more or less stable arrangement or patterns of pairs in a system, whereas process have to do with the functions carried out by the parts. Here we are just seeing in the difference between structures and process. Structure is a more or less stable arrangement or patterning. Okay, we are discussing about which is stable, but process is which is taking place. See here we got it is one analogy is given in our book, wherein geology, mountains and valleys. See, mountains are are structures. They are final product. Mountains are formed, but how mountains are formed? Due to various pressures happening in the earth crust. Because of those things, these mountains and valleys are forming, right? So they, to get one structure, there is one process. So it is given that actually we don't see. It is given in the next slide, I guess. So what exactly, how exactly is that structure forming? How that structure is being achieved? What is the process in that? If we see a child every day, we don't see any difference. Much difference is not observed. But when we see the photo of, example, our photo itself, mana photo ne, when we see our photo, when we see our face every day, we don't find any difference that we became thin or thick. But if we compare our photo with our 1 year or 2 years back photo, we find a drastic difference, right? So whatever is changing is very not noticeable, but process is not noticeable, but the outcome of the process is very much noticeable. Okay, so we'll move into the second part, next part. Here in the structure and process of personality, consistent, as we previously saw, how is the behavior consistent and how it is variable. And also we have discussed about abnormal behavior, why abnormal behavior is happening. See, in this chapter we are just discussing about the question. There is no answer given in the question, it is just raising some interest how everything is forming, how some people are constant and also variable, how abnormal behavior is forming, what, how and why these things are happening, structure and process, all these things. So to remember what are structure and process of personality, in case exam is in examination they ask about the structure and process of personality, we should discuss about these 4 points: consistent and variation, abnormal behavior, why, how and what of the behavior, structure and process. So remember this. You know Amitabh Bachchan, right? I'll just have a sip of water. Amitabh Bachchan, host of KBC. So simple logic to remember. AB is abnormal behavior. He conducts a program, not KBC, but wo hai wow. Wo ante that person. Wo hai wow. He is very wonderful. Wo hai wow. KBC laga wo hai wow. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి సింపుల్ గా. And for that program, if you want to have a special entry, wild card entry or special entry, you need to have a strong CV. CV is curriculum vitae, right? Amitabh Bachchan conducts a program that is wo hai wow, and to have a special entry into that, you need to have a strong or special CV. From Amitabh Bachchan, AB will get abnormal behavior, and from W, what, how and why, WHW, I said wo hai wow. Okay, and to have a special entry, SP is special, S is for structures, and P is for process, and CVC is for curriculum vitae. Here it is for consistent and variation. Amitabh Bachchan, wo hai wow, special CV. Okay, so this is how to remember these things. To write about structure and personality of if some question like structure and process of personality, we should include these terms and explain about these terms, and you will be able to answer that question perfectly. Then personality as influence about structures and process. So here he is talking about structure. It is given about structure wherein many structures and process are not observable. As I said previously, if we see our photograph every day, we don't find any difference, but when we compare it with the previous year, or children, when we see after a gap of 3 months, 4 months or 1 year, we find a huge difference. So structure and process are not observable. They can be studied by observing at regular intervals, right? As I previously said, they need to be observed at regular intervals. Only then we can remember that, we can recognize and we can observe it. Structural concepts refer to more stable and enduring aspects of a personality. As I said, what are stable? If we study about stable things, we need to have some base, we need to have some reference. So structural concept mostly refers depends on structure, stable and enduring aspects of personality. Response, such as response, habit, traits and types. And to explain these theories, there are some complex theories and there are some simple theories. Various theories we will be reading about, we will be getting to know about all these things in our upcoming units. So next, about process, organization and processes that relate the part to one another. See, here I am saying about this PPT, whichever is highlighted in red color, you need to have some stress on that, and you need to memorize or remember those points so that you can expand it to all the answer. Okay, we do not see personality, we see action. Yes, we do not see personality. Normally we say he's a good person or he's a bad person. How are we saying that he's a good person or how are we saying that he's a bad person? Right, there should be something, right? So we can't directly say that he's good person or he's bad person. Good or bad of a person depends on what action he's doing. Good or bad depends on what action he's doing. Only then we'll get to know about his personality. Okay, and observation of psychological reaction and inferences made. Observation of psychological reactions, how our reactions are there, and what are the references, what are the inferences we are making from those psychological reactions. These determine our personality. And some people use this. One second. See, personality, there is change in personality. We'll be happy, we'll be sad, we'll be having some sort of personality now and then. But some personalities, like what happens is that we cry. By crying, what happens is that we feel somewhat relief. Or if we say our feelings to someone else, if we are having a lot of problem and we are saying this to someone, see, I have this problem, they may not give you any solution. As a counselor, as a psychologist, we have to face a lot of patients wherein they start saying a lot of story, long stories, boring stories, or all their experiences, and you don't have to give any suggestion, you don't have to give any medicine, you don't have to say anything. Only by listening, they feel very light. So these things reduce tension. These things reduce tension, and how growth and self-fulfillment are happening. Some people are very happy without anything, without having any money, without having any luxury facilities. They are very happy and they don't have any tension. But few people are there who risk a lot. Even if they are having a very little amount of time, they do a lot of work in those time. They want to have some recognition, they want to have some money, they want to have fame, or they even are ready to bear the tension, they are ready to face tension. How are those people, how are those personalities forming? All these things we will be knowing in this complete subject of personality. So how people how hungry whenever there is some need of food in our stomach, we feel hungry. Water is required, we feel thirst. We need growth and realization. Even if it is increasing the amount of tension, we may have to face. We may have to face. And how some people are happy without having anything. How are their tension reduced? All these things are discussed in our chapter. So basically, this unit of second unit, which is structure and process of personality. Structure and process of personality is just about asking questions, and answers for these questions will be answered in our subsequent units and completely in our subject. So here we come to the end of unit 2. Okay, so after this I'll be jumping into unit 3. Unit 2 and 3 are very small, and I'll start sharing. See, we have discussed previously that how the personality is forming, how processes, what are the process, what are the structures, how abnormal behavior, why, what, and who, consistent, how, as we saw in that Amitabh Bachchan, abnormal behavior, then who, how, what, how, where, why, and SP, that is consistent and variation. SP is could I forgot? SP structures and process. So all these things, how and growth and development, how they are happening, how growth and development is happening. This is discussed in this chapter. Okay. So why are we going to study about the growth and development of personality? Why are we studying growth and development of a personality? The answer for that question is understanding the personality of an adult is facilitated if one knows how that personality was formed. I'll just say a recent example which I faced. We recently went to a restaurant. I took my daughter there. So, one second now. There is some issue here. Okay. So, how this personal? So, the example which I wanted to say is that when I recently went to a restaurant, they have kept plates in front of us. My daughter was playing with the plate. I was afraid whether if she breaks the plate. I said, "You please remove these extra plates." He said that no problem, sir. They will not break. Then how could he say that it will not break? Because he know with what material it is made, and also he might be knowing, he might have even dropped the plate, but it did not break. So based on experience or how it is formed, it is a steel plate. If I know that it is made of steel, then it will not break, I can definitely say. But if it is made from porcelain or bone china or something, then there is a chance that it will break. So understanding the personality of how it is forming, how it is forming, how it is forming. See, I'm getting a request that I should cover it in Telugu and English. Okay, fine. So understanding the personality of an adult is facilitated if one knows how a person will react depends or can be guessed how the personality was formed. Only then we can guess and we can do whatever we can do. Here, two examples are given about two women in our textbook, wherein one woman has a lot of desire to pursue something to get appreciation from their parents. Whenever she does something, their parents appreciate. So she feels happy when their parents appreciate. Appreciate చేసినప్పుడు she feels very happy. So one time what his father says that you do accounting, you will have a lot of money and it's a very good future options you have. Then to get appreciations from their parents, when their parents will appreciate, when they feel happy, when they will feel happy when she does something which will make them happy. When she does something that makes them happy, they feel good. When they feel good, they appreciate her. To get that appreciation, she was pursuing accounting because her father likes accounting and she will get appreciation if she does. But another person is there, another woman, what she does is that she does accounting because she is not having any other option. She's not interested and she just want to make some money. But in these two circumstances, ఈ రెండు circumstances లో when some situation arises wherein tension situation or a hectic situation, they need to cover a lot of thing in a little time. The first person who is doing everything in with her own wish, with her internal wish, she will be able to handle things easily. She'll be able to handle the things easily. But the second person, because first person likes the process, likes the work she is doing, because of that, like she will make some or the other arrangement and she will make it happen. But the second person, she'll think, "Arey, I should not have done this. I should not have chosen this field. I took it waste of time. అనవసరంగా తీసుకున్నా నేను. తీసుకోకపోయి ఉంటే ఎంత హ్యాపీగా ఉండేదాన్ని." She feels in that way and her performance will be hampered because of that behavior. So how we are doing anything, are we doing with our will, or if someone is forcing us to do, this also depends how it is going to happen. Organizations of motives, beliefs, skills and defenses are different in different ages. So at different ages, we'll have different motives, our belief systems will be different, our skill set will be different. If we assign a simple task to a 5 years boy and a 15 years boy, the way they do the process or the way they do the thing will be different because of their age. The skill they are having will be different, and they need to, why are we studying, they need to predict adult behavior. Adult behavior will also depend on their childhood experiences, disturbances of knowledge of the child life experience, how their life, children's life is affected when the people are very happy or they are having everything laadikundi atlante antaru, like whenever some people are there, they are very stubborn. We think that stubborn people, stubborn children are, it is not a good behavior. Some people will say that I need that, and they cry and they do hangama for that. But the same person, if he is willing to do something, like if he is wanting to achieve something, he want to get a good rank or something, he will be showing this same stubbornness, same this same zeal to achieve that. We think that whenever some children are very ziddy, it is bad behavior. No, we need to nurture it in a proper way, that that ziddiness, that zeal or that stubbornness is going towards a positive angle, positive thing. We need to enforce something like, see, you should do this, and if they are fixed to do that, come what may, they'll be achieving it very easily. So this is childhood experiences will be depending on, are one of the key factors affecting our adult personality. Okay.
So,
Yes. Wait, I'll mute everyone. If you have anything to say, you can message me in the chat box. As of now, I have turned off mic for everyone. Okay. So critical periods in development. While discussing about this thing, we'll have critical periods of development in childhood. These critical periods will have a drastic effect in their life. See, in the first 3 years of life, that is very important. You might be knowing by seeing your children or your surrounding neighbor people or someone, we will be coming across children. And also our experience, whenever we were children, our parents used to buy a long big sized clothes. They'll say that first time when we wear, it will be very long, it will be very loose, it will be like baggy type. But they believe that, and it is true also, because the growth is very rapid during the initial ages, and especially during 0 to 3 years, the growth is very rapid. And during this rapid growth age, that is very important. This diet determines the health, and their fitness will be depending on the diet which they take during the years of 0 to 3 years. And trusting relationship with others, for trusting relationship with others, 0 to 3 years, when the age is between 0 to 3, if some people are crying for some help or they need something, and if we are providing it, then they will believe that okay, whenever there is some problem, someone will come and help us. Or and they believe in people, they believe in people that okay, whenever there is some problem, some or the other person will come and some other or the other person will help me. But if during this initial age we are not helping each other, they are not they're not getting proper help, so they'll have a very bad attitude towards the public. As we can see, many will say that living in the same society, people will say that all the people are very good. Some people will say that everyone is good, and at the same time, among the same circle, other people will say that society is bad, no one is helping, no one is doing anything. How all these things are performing? During the age of 0 to 3 years only, all these things are forming. How we are trusting the people, how these relationships are forming, all these things are depending on in those times. And language acquisition. Language acquisition is also very rapid during the age of. Nothing to worry. It is getting recorded. Um, During these 2 to 6 years of age, during these 2 to 6 years of age, language acquisition is very rapid. You might have observed. I have definitely observed in our home when children we usually speak in Hindi. So the children easily understands the Hindi language. So we start conversing our something. If I have to say something, she don't give to her, don't give it to her. I say it in Telugu. But within a span of 1 month or so, she went started understanding Telugu. So I'm staying in Maharashtra for almost 4 years, but I'm unable to speak in Marathi. But the children, very small, 2 years of age, they are able to understand two languages very easily without any problem. So language acquisition is very high during these 2 to 6 years of age. So these are things, these are called critical periods in development. I don't think that there is something very hard to remember in these things. Diet 0 to 3 years and trust in relationship also 0 to 3 years, and language acquisition 2 to 6 years of age. Okay, so moving forward, patterning of growth and development in personality. So there is particular resemblance. See, there is a resemblance between the embryo of a man or embryo of a man and embryo of dog. There is some resemblance between organs, and in mammals there is one particular order wherein central nervous system begins develops before other organs, and there is some fixed order. Only after this development, some other development will happen. Same is the personality. Some development will happen based on the previous development, and one facilitates the other. Like in case of human being, consider fingers can be developed only after hand is developed. If hand is not developed, fingers cannot be developed, right? So one facilitates the other. The behavior of one thing will facilitate other, and the minimal affectionate people, some people will get very less affection during their childhood. Whenever these less affectionate people are there, so that will impair their relation, future relation, how they behave and how they value relation will be developed if the persons are very less affectionate. So this is how developing. We are just studying how personality is developing. Then early personality development. See, during newborn period of reflex. Newborn period of reflex is for 2 to 7 days. Is given here as 5 to 7 days. 5 to 7 days they normally during this period the child experiences a lot of psychological trauma. So whenever you see children, we can't we can't clearly determine whether they are seeing us or whether they are seeing the roof or whether say they are seeing fan. We see about depth. We can see that if I'm seeing this laptop, my eye focus is here. If I'm seeing that the wall, the eye focus is there. If someone from external is observing me, you can definitely say whether I'm seeing this laptop or whether I'm seeing this wall. But if you observe small children, we can't even understand where they are seeing, whether they are seeing face or whether they are seeing our ceiling behind our head or anything. So newborn people have this reflex of this problem, this psychological trauma. It will be for 5 to 7 days. And is baby's world confusing? It is said that no, baby's world is not confusing. Because confusion occur when there are a lot of different things happening at the same time, then we'll have confusion. Those people, these small babies are not at all involved, or they are not having any attention to happenings around them. So there is no question of confusion. And after 2 to 3 months, they have a rhythm. Previously, during new child born, we don't know when he sleeps, we don't know when he wakes up, we don't know when they get hungry or when they pass urine or anything. But over a period of time, over a period of 2 to 3 months, there is one rhythm set. There is one rhythm set wherein they have a particular time of sleep, they have particular time to wake up, they have particular time. We can just guess, now he'll sleep, now he'll wake up. We can wildly guess. So they'll have a rhythm in 2 to 3 months of time. They can even see depth perception. As I gave an example, they can see the difference between, we'll know if they are seeing our face or if they are seeing something behind us. We can guess from their depth perception. And the time they cry will also decrease as we go, as the age increases to 2 to 3 months. The increase in smile, they also increase it. The smiling, the level of smile or the time of smile will also increase from 3 to 5 months. Whenever, children see familiar faces, they give a smile because they recognize, the similar faces. And the emergence of anxiety at 6 to 12 months, strange is during the 6 to 12 months of age. 6 to 12 months of age, they emerge anxiety whenever the child's mother goes away for some amount of time, for a brief amount of time. They recognize and they start crying. They just want their mother to sit or stay beside them. They have an anxiety. They may anxiety వెళ్ళిపోతారేమో అన్న భయము. Anxiety exactly, to be very clear, వెళ్ళిపోతారేమో అని గాబరా పడడము, భయపడడం లాంటిది అనమాట anxiety. The relation of schema, they also recognize the relation of schema of fear, past, recognize past events. Depending on some sounds, they suddenly give some jerk. Depending on the sound, they may think that okay, something has, something is going to happen which I need to fear or something. And during the age of 12 to 18 years, they we can understand the simple request. If they need some water, if they want something, some toy, they show that they do like this. They matlab జిద్ చేయడం లాగా కావచ్చు, లేకుంటే we can understand what exactly they want to express, what exactly they want to say. If they want to eat something or if they want to say something, it will be developed during the age of 12 to 18 months. Then the development of attachment to the caretaker. Development of attachment to the caretaker, there is some experience, experiment during did this. See, whenever a person, actions are necessary for survival. Without any action, we cannot express ourselves. We cannot say what exactly we want, what exactly we can do, we want to do. We need some action, we need some expression to so say or do something. And crying is important response for them. Crying is the ఆయుధం. తెలుగులో ఒక సామెత ఉంటుంది, ఏడిపే ఆయుధం పిల్లలకి, ఏడిపే బలం అంటారు కదా. So that is one important response they have. And cry also, because that will not make, whenever the child cries, whenever he's hungry, he'll start crying. This will make sure that body will make sure that he'll not stay hungry for a lot of time. We sometimes think that entanna edu nenu iyyanu. We think that whatever, however long or however loud you cry, I'm not going to give. Even if we think like that, but after 1 or 2 minutes of time, the intensity and the irritation we get from that cry will give that. This cry makes sure that he is not distressed for a long amount of time. The degree to which the infant is predisposed to initiate reactions towards the caretaker. So how affectionate, how caretaker, sometimes what happens is that if children are throwing something and we readily pick it up and we readily give it to them, then every time what they do is that they'll wantedly drop it and they want someone else to pick it up, right? But initially, if you do not pick it up and let them cry for some time and then pick by themselves, The second time when they throw or when some object falls, they try to take it by themselves, right? So predisposition, how they are predisposition, how they are thinking, what the other person will do if I do this thing, based on his previous experience. If someone is not giving anything, then వాళ్ళు ఎవరు ఇంకా నేనే తీసుకోవాలి అని డిసైడ్ అయిపోయి they themselves go and start taking it. So this is about development of attachment towards the caretaker. Then consequences of attachment, generalization of responses. So there was one experiment conducted with 16 6 months old babies, wherein they were made into two batches, 8 in each. In one batch of babies, 8 babies, what they did is that one particular person used to take care of one baby, and they used to provide a lot of nurture, they used to pamper, and they used to do whatever possible things they can do. But in another group of 8 people, 8 babies, what they did is that they just did their job like a job only. They did not show any affection, they did not show any compassion towards the person, or they did not show any attachment, nothing. They just cleaned, or they just did whatever nurturance that was needed. When these two group of babies were exposed, use Telugu also please అంటున్నారు. ఓకే, తెలుగు కూడా. సో ఈ టూ బ్యాచెస్ లాగా 16 పీపుల్ ని 8 and 8 టూ డిఫరెంట్ గ్రూప్స్ వేర్ క్రియేటెడ్. చేసిన తర్వాత ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్ చేశారు. ఒక దాంట్లో ఏంటిది అంటే కేర్ టేకర్, వన్ పర్టికులర్ బేబీకి వన్ పర్టికులర్ కేర్ టేకర్ పెట్టేశారు, అండ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ యూస్ టు బి డన్ బై దెమ్. దే వేర్ గెటింగ్ ఎ లాట్ ఆఫ్ నర్చర్, చాలా బాగా చూసుకున్నారు. బట్ టు ది అదర్ గ్రూప్ వాట్ హ్యాపెండ్ ఈస్ దట్ different people used to come and different people used to give different treatments, different types of behavior were shown. Ala cheyadam valla emaindi, after a period of time these two peoples were exposed to some stranger. Aithe stranger toti expose cheyadam valla emaindi ante first group of 8 people they reacted very well. The first group ante endi, a group lo aithe one particular person used to nurture and take care, pamper a lot. They have responded very well to the stranger. But the other group where they were not properly taken care of, and there was no proper nurturance from what one particular person, different person used to come, they just showed a neutral behavior. They did not react much to the stranger. So generalization of responses. So how the responses, they just thought that these are the random person. So these people are not going to pamper us any much, because the other the second group wherein అంటే సెకండ్ గ్రూప్ లో ఎవరైతే మామూలుగా అంత ఎక్కువ ప్యాంపరింగ్ ఇవ్వకుండా ఉండేసరికి ఆ స్ట్రేంజర్ వచ్చినప్పుడు కూడా అంత పెద్ద రియాక్షన్ ఏం లేదు, నార్మల్ గానే ఉంది. బట్ అట్ ది సేమ్ టైం ఆ ఫస్ట్ గ్రూప్ లో ఏదైతే ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు మంచి చూసేసరికి స్ట్రేంజర్ ని చూడగానే కూడా their reaction was very different, and they said the welcoming face, they just gave a smiling face. Their reaction was very different for that set of people. So it is generalization of responses that was conducted on two different groups of people. Then separation anxiety. Why separation anxiety comes is that, as we discussed earlier, వదిలేసి వెళ్ళిపోతే ఏం జరుగుతుందో అని చెప్పేసి, అంటే who is going to take care అనేది భయం ఉంటుందన్నమాట వాళ్ళకి. సో ఈ సెపరేషన్ యాంగ్జైటీ అనేది కొద్దిమందికి చాలా తొందరగా డెవలప్ అవుతుంది, కొద్దిమందికి చాలా లేట్ గా డెవలప్ అవుతుంది. అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ సెడ్ దట్ ఇన్ అమెరికన్ చిల్డ్రన్ 10 months is the age where this separation anxiety develops, but Uganda people will usually show at the age of 6 months. So all these things, consequences of attachment ఎక్కువ ఉండడం వల్ల how their responses will be there, how their separation anxiety will be there, how attachment is having consequences on them. These all the things the attachment valla these are the things developing: generalization of responses and separation anxiety. So mental processes and the actions అనేవి అన్ని వీటి మీద డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటుంది. సో హియర్ వి కమ్ టు ది ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ థర్డ్ యూనిట్. సెకండ్ అండ్ థర్డ్ యూనిట్ లో పెద్దగా ఏం లేదు. ఫోర్త్ యూనిట్ లో నుంచి అసలైన విషయం స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది.